Extra, extra, read all about it. Welcome to the Empire's Recap, and today we will be going over the chaos and drama of our somewhat respected rulers. This week we give the Empire's crew a Hermitcraft welcome, and there's quite a lot of lore to recap, so let's get on with the show. Even though Joey's gotten better at hiding his wealth, part of him can't help but want to put it on display. With all that amethyst he buckled and swashed from Lizzie last week, Pirate Joe has plans for a new, more impressive nether portal. But to build it, he needs a lot of concrete, and converting it by hand is for people who aren't welcome in Hermitopia. Joey pops through the portal Cleo told him about, and is greeted by a friendly dwarf, who is regular-sized for a hermit, but a little hairier on the chin. Impulse is happy to show Joey to the concrete converter and explain how it works, especially since he engineered it, and even lets him take the dye materials from his shulker boxes, or whoever's are on the balcony. The machine is compact but extremely effective, and Impulse even shows Joey a little of what else Hermitopia has to offer. He'll be coming back for sure. In no time at all, Joey has his concrete and starts building his new nether portal, a giant skull overlooking Forgotten Cove. Seems he's gone from despising Skeletron to stealing his architecture. Before it becomes a mob farm, he adds frog lights for the eyes. The mouth serves as the site for a giant new nether portal, and as Joey breaks his old one beforehand, it better connect to the nether roof or he's in trouble. Thankfully it does, and part 2 of the build can come into play. Remember the amethyst? It turns into the base for a giant tongue road snaking out of the portal and down into Forgotten Cove, mixed with some purple and purple concrete. The effect is quite spooky. And guess who needs to get spooked? Witch Shelby, that's who! She shows up trying to buy back the letter Joey stole from her, but he doesn't need her money, or her attempts at another truce. Her getting him assassinated cost him his hand. What he needs is another map to one of his crewmates. Shouldn't a great witch be able to wave some sticks around and find a location? They are far from friends, even as Shelby agrees to find him a map in exchange for the letter upon delivery. Things are finally looking up for the captain. Speaking of looking up, Pixelriff's daily flyby of Hermitopia reveals that Grumbot is awake and has arms now. That's terrifying. But right now he's a bit more focused on cleaning up a different hermit-based mess. With some help from his stream chat, Pix has figured out a way to use Lightmatica to find every Skulk catalyst within a given area, so Cubfan's fog-induced rampage can be undone. The capital was already clean, so now it's time to take his services to the other empires, especially since someone has been giving out historical artifacts to keep them from Pix. Not clever enough, Rendog. First stop is Gemini Tay, and through the power of the sun and a backup pair of glasses, Pix trades his cleaning service for an IOU of whatever giblet Rendog will offer her. Catalyst count in Dawn, 246. Next up, Joel in his floating city. While Joel was going to trade Ren's first pick for some frog lights, Pix's lore vision cleanup is good enough. Catalyst count in Stratos, 379. Sausage knows Pix is coming before he even gets to Sanctuary with his cleaning vision imparted by not Santa Perla. They can talk about whatever's going on with Grumbot later. It'll be fine, right?
Like, you can't be giving giant computery faces arms. Like, that only leads to trouble.
Sausage trades over Ren's first dirt and even tips with some premium wood. Catalyst count in Sanctuary, 260. Full Symmetry is getting used to Pix showing up on her doorstep, and while she could bully Cub into cleaning up his mess, Pix's miracle of modern technology will do for now, and another Giblet IOU goes on the docket. Catalyst count in Cogsmead, 164. Ollie doesn't need any fancy lore justification. He knows Pix is cheating, but the cheating is good for Ollie. They can pretend it's the power of music if they wanted to. While Ollie tries to skirt the Giblet IOU by guilting Pix over his stolen house, Pix is prepared.
I mean, ultimately, you also owe me this because you stole my house.
Yeah, true.
And I don't think you've given me anything back for that yet. So this is payment.
I mean, I've given you content, Ollie. Surely that's.
Oh, true. That is so true, King.
Catalyst count in the Ollie Poly go, 68 at first, but after removing a height limit from the scanner, 108. And finally, Scott's Major is happy to be able to farm his cows without spreading more skulk thanks to Pixelriff's own magic eyes. Catalyst count in Chromia, 164. While the intended payment was Rendog's first cobblestone, Scott hands over a lever. It seems a moment of forgetfulness had him use the historical item. Pix is still happy with it, though. The reuse of items throughout history is an important field of study.
Pix visits Sausage with a proposal, getting rid of all the skulk in exchange for Ren's giblets. He agrees, and Pix gets to work. In the Herm Empire, Grumbot has woken up. Sausage gathers the LORE team and builds an outpost to keep an eye on it. His boy Hermes keeps watch for anything out of the ordinary. Back in Sanctuary, the visions are coming in an onslaught. First, after showing off the interior of the Sun Temple, he finds a stick. Or apparently a staff? It doesn't seem to work, though. It could be broken, but before he can chuck it, he gets teleported to a wizard tower. There he meets Gem, but not his Gem. She says she's an amethyst wizard and ends up giving him a crystal he can combine with the staff before he gets thrown back into his own time. He meets with the LORE crew again to come up with some plans before showing off his new interior of the Sun Castle to B-Dubs. Number 1 god, of course. B-Dubs tries to help him bind this weird crystal and his staff together, just in time to meet with Pearl, who came to say goodbye and was dragged into another world through Sausage's visions. They wander around together admiring the place and find a golden goose in the stables, before teleporting back. Pearl still holds them to a sunflower from that mystical place, so they use some Sanctuary magic to combine the gem crystal and the stick to make the Staff of Sanctuary.
Joel appears to be turning over a new leaf, as he summons Jimmy to set up a truce, where the two come up with new rules for the server.
Oh my gosh!
Welcome to the new law building.
Law.
Law. Spelled different ways. Law and law. Inside, if you want to come in, this is the building, the law building of peace.
Law? And the law? And this is the Book of Law?
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
We come up with our own Book of Law together, one that we both agree on.
The rules include everything the two could dream of.
Yes, then, shall we? Make sure there are peace between empires. It is peace, but sure, we can alter that. In the
All right,
official
sorry.
book.
I've gotten to be in English. And then number 2 is don't make any jokes about toys and stuff because no one's a toy in Empires. That would be really strange and bizarre. That's like a good one, I think, to like kind of have across the server.
All right, well, do you want to look at mine? This is what I've gone for. Number 1, you can't insult other people's height, so that kind of comes into you as well, because like you're small, and obviously we can't really talk about that. And obviously I'm really tall, so people can't insult me for being tall and stuff.
Okay, yeah, all right.
And 2, murder is fine as long as it's a funny murder.
Most importantly, as a part of this deal, the two non-friendly emperors burn the sheriff toys in lava, as Jimmy is definitely not a toy.
Goodbye, little fellas.
Took me so long to gather those.
Do you know what?
Is that all of them?
That was really... Now I know that our friendship is real and true.
Grumbot has now grown bigger and stronger than a small Jimmy and has developed arms, which doesn't seem like typical robot behavior.
He has a face. Their base has a face.
Yeah, they call him Grumbot.
Face. Face with base.
Face. It has a face, base, arms, and it's
got hands. It's
and
kind
hands.
of pointing over here.
Yes.
You think they're going back through the rift? Like, they're not just going to, like, make a new one? They're going to try and use this guy again.
I think that guy is facing this way. He has his hand pointing up like he has an idea, and I have a feeling that that idea might be something to do with this.
Concerned, Whip and Jimmy meet up to discuss how they will prevent the hermits returning to Hermitcraft. In an act of genius, they cover up the rift like nothing was ever there. It was only ever a platform they used for a concert.
Right, the fort is complete.
It is, and there's really no reason for us to build a fort here, because nothing was ever here.
That's just a plain. Rock, yeah, it's just a rock. We call it the rock. We love the rock.
Yeah. We
Guard towers are also built up high when Pix joins the anti-Hermits Going Home crew. 3 emperors taking shifts guarding Fort Riftless is surely enough to prevent the hermits from going home.
Hey, look at our new fort member, Pix.
Hi.
No, that's Pix. That's Pixel Rift.
No, he's Pix.
No. You gotta be Pix here.
Why? What?
Because this is Fort Riftless.
Oh!
You can't have the rift. It's riftless.
Of course, there's no rift here. There's nothing. There's just Pix.
No, nothing
at all.
Just
Pix.
Yeah.
We have another special report for you today, covering the Battle of Fort Riftless and the ensuing exodus from our world. But how did we get here? It all started with Grumbot and the reopening of the rift. Having heard the hermits were planning to leave, many of the emperors took action, in one form or another. Sheriff Jimmy did not want to lose his deputy. He locked Scar in jail, trying to convince him to stay. But Scar's silver tongue got him out and saying goodbye, though Jimmy was not so easily deterred. Fwip, having grown attached to Tango himself, helped Jimmy build a wall blocking the rift from view, and a trap to drop someone into a small hotel room until they could be persuaded not to leave. Jimmy blew up the bridge in front, creating a standalone structure. They named it Fort Riftless, because riftless takes too much brain to say. Riftless. The lore team has been investigating Grumbot for a while with Hermes' help, and finally asked it a question. Will we be safe? His response? With what sounded like a proclamation of total destruction on their hands, they had to take action. Sausage and Pixel Riffs dismantled the Tumbletown TNT wagon, using it to build a missile aimed right at Grumbot, a last-ditch effort if the Hermit refused to disable their doomsday device. Pix joined Whip and Jimmy at Fort Riftless, temporarily abandoning part of his name and adding some firepower to the walls, and the three swore a blood oath to defend their server to the end. Don't worry, it's just redstone. Finally, the Hermits arrived, seeing the rift through a hole accidentally left open. The alarms were rung and the rest of the Emperors swooped in to join the fight. Arrows flew and cannons bombed and trapdoors were flipped the wrong way before a ceasefire was finally called. The two sides tried to talk things out, but not only was the message mixed on the Empire's side, split between don't leave, turn off the robot planning to kill us first, and give us back our stuff, Grian refused to destroy his robot. Negotiations crumbled, Fort Riftless's hotel trap was sprung, and heads rolled. The Hermits slipped through the narrow gap, diving through the portal, and were gone. Without the Creator to dismantle things safely, Pix turned to their secret and last resort, firing the missile. Its aim was perfect, and with a little help to light it from Jimmy and the bow he got from Scar, Grumbot was no more. And yet the rift was still open, even with him gone. What could be on the other side? Some of the Emperors took the plunge, stepping through the rift into a new world.
This week on Hermitcraft, me!
That's right, the Emperors are on Hermitcraft now. With the rift stable, for now, and the ability to go home, some of them have decided to take a look around this fabled land. And don't worry, we snuck a camera of our own through to keep bringing you all the Empire's news, no matter where. Joel is one of the first Emperors through the rift, and he makes an interesting observation about their new home.
Ended up on Hermitcraft. You thought the crossover was ending, you stupid fool, you! And one thing I noticed, when I looked up, Green doesn't really show this in his videos, but I couldn't unsee something.
Green.
Thank you very much.
Have you ever thought
You're rich.
that if you look up, it looks like a man squatting on a toilet?
Mr. Pixelrus, have you got food?
I do have food. I got some of your lovely gigabytes.
I hate you.
With that first impression of the server, he picks up a few goodies, enters his furry arc, his words not mine, and heads off to find someplace the Hermits haven't already stripped bare. Before going too far, though, Joel heads back through the still open rift to check on Hermes. The kid is stuck on Empires for mod-related reasons, at least for now, but it's good to know his dads can come back and see him anytime. He then explores the server in search of the shopping district and immediately becomes lost and confused.
This has happened, guys. Help, help, help. What's going on? Where do I see where it's north?
There's a baffling amount of random chests scattered about, seemingly everywhere he goes. Haven't they heard of a storage system? He eventually reaches the shopping district, but doesn't buy anything. To hopefully make things make sense, he finds Pixel Riffs, who is already geared up, and they locate an unused donut of snowy land. A perfect place for a winter home for the Empire's folks on this side of the rift. They plant a tiny spruce tree, though it promises to not be tiny for long. After some mining, Joel finally goes on a shopping trip, picking up rockets, books, and some food. While trying to enchant his gear, he finds himself in need of experience, and Gem offers her assistance in locating a farm in exchange for his head. After a trip to the Ender, he's ready to get cracking on the village.
Gem is a bit of a special case. Being a dimension hopper has its benefits. But she didn't come over with the rest of her fellow rulers. In fact, she had to do a bit of a costume change. But nobody seems to mind her playing both sides for now. To go back to the beginning, Gem receives a few visitors in Dawn, the first being Pixelriff, who has both a question and a service to provide her. The question is, can he get her a new pair of sunglasses? The service is getting rid of all the skulk catalysts from her empire. Her other visitor is Impulse, who a while back came and asked to build a raid farm. Since he let her know he's going to be leaving with the other hermits through the rift soon, she would like to take possession of it for Dawn.
I'm like making redstone blocks. Look at all those redstone
Whoa.
blocks. You need
That's
those?
so
you want
many.
some redstone?
I don't know what to do with those, Impulse.
The skulk is not the end of the darkness, as a lightning storm turns her villager into a witch. Obviously, this means she needs to visit the church, but as she approaches, there's apparently a sad concert going on inside. Ollie has come to spread the bad news that the hermits are leaving, and also pay her back for the tree with an organ in her church. Anyway, back to the woe. Jim suggests going to Hermitopia to say goodbye, or sing, or whatever Ollie does, but when they get there, there's a fight going down? She's gotta visit the others in Hermitcraft, make sure they're alright. And to do that, well, she has to dream. She wakes up in Hermitcraft and quickly flies over to the Rift, where there's general chaos and yelling, but now she can show her friends her mega base. She meets with Sausage at the castle and takes him on a little tour for Elven Kingdom. However, Sausage isn't the only one who needs a tour. It has been a month and a half with Princess Gem. Gem tours through all her projects on Hermitcraft thus far, and there seems to be a theme of her collecting her Empire friends' heads, as well as her Hermitcraft friends' heads. So far, she's killed Sausage and is going around helping the Emperors in exchange for their heads. Joel wants some directions to the Enderman farm for some XP, and she visits Beef for his skull all the way out at his trading card facility.
Fantastic.
Wow, that took... Oh, look at that. I'm still on fire. This is amazing.
Wow, what a nice skull you have. Thank you.
I know. I get that a lot.
Do you?
Flip offers to trade his skull for some diamond armor, and she takes the trade as she had the spare set anyways. He tries to up the deal, and when that doesn't work, Gem murders him. He tries to swindle Impulse for some stuff, who then also murders him. Proper Hermitcraft welcome.
And with that, join us next week for more chaos and shenanigans. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and thanks to everyone helping out with the project. Check them all out down below.